Good morning and welcome to the Killik & Co market update. This week we've been told that the government will finally be selling down some more of its stake in RBS 10 years after the financial crisis. So the government spent £45 billion bailing out RBS, and by 2009 the government or the taxpayer owned 84% of the bank. But since then the bank has paid no dividends, it's made no profits, but it has paid over £20 billion in fines for misconduct, mainly due to mis-selling mortgages. Now, the average price per share that the taxpayer paid for RBS was 502 pence. And George Osborne, the Chancellor, actually sold down a small tranche of shares back in 2015, and he sold those shares at 330 pence, raising £2.1 billion, but crystallising a loss for the taxpayer. Since then, the price has fallen even further, so today the price is 268 pence. So if Philip Hammond does decide to go ahead and sell some more, that will crystallise an even greater loss for the taxpayer. Now, if we have a look at this chart showing the market capitalisation of RBS over the last decade, we can really see how poorly the shares in the bank have performed. So if we go back to 2007, pre-financial crisis, the bank was briefly worth just over £65 billion, and it was briefly the largest bank in the world. Then we moved into the financial crisis and the value of the bank was hit very hard. Then it was propped up by the large £45 billion government bailout. But as you can see, the value of the bank has declined quite steadily since then. Today the bank is worth just over £30 billion, and the government still owns over a 70% stake. So the government is still sitting on quite a large loss there. And this is in quite steep contrast to Lloyds Bank. So the government was able to sell the last of its shares in Lloyds back in 2016, and it actually made a small profit on those. So there's a huge difference between how quickly RBS and Lloyds have managed to turn themselves around. And looking ahead to next week, the Brexit bill is back in the House of Commons on Tuesday, and this is being referred to in the press as Brexit Super Tuesday. So the House of Lords has made 15 different amendments to the Brexit bill, and the House of Commons will have just one day to debate and vote on all of these. And it does really appear that the House of Lords is pushing for a softer Brexit, as you can see by these three amendments here. So the first applies to refugees. The House of Lords is saying that the UK should retain EU rules allowing asylum seekers to join family members who are already in the UK. Then the second one applies to the European Economic Area. So despite leaving the European Union, the House of Lords believes the UK should stay in the European Economic Area, i.e. the single market. And then last of all, the Lords want us to remove the exact date of Brexit. So if all of these get passed, it will make for a much softer Brexit, and that could have some connotations for sterling. So obviously after the original referendum, there was a steep decline in the value of sterling, but since then any talk of a softer Brexit has been quite good for sterling. So do keep an eye on the currency next week. And finally, the last of the Premier League rights have now been sold, and Amazon has actually ended up with 20 games. So that compares to 52 games for BT, and then Sky with the majority at 128. And Amazon is now saying that anyone with an Amazon Prime membership will be able to watch these games for free. So that really does give people one more reason to sign up to Amazon Prime. At the moment, we're not too clear on exactly how many people in the UK have Prime membership, because Amazon doesn't publish the figures, but it's estimated to be around about 8 million people. So that would equate to about 1/3 of households. And if they do end up getting more football games, it's likely that more people will be signing up for Amazon Prime. Moving on to the week ahead. Again, it's a fairly quiet week as we move into the summer, but we will be looking forward to results from the investment trusts in Kona, and also results from Tesco next Friday. That's it from us. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.